Most American backyard tomato growers in their 50s and 60s will lose $40 to $90 worth of fruit this July, treating the wrong problem. Because what looks like disease is usually something else entirely, and what looks like a nutrient issue is often just water. These 16 tomato diagnosis causes are what university extension labs actually find when growers bring in samples, not what the garden center tells you to spray. Before cause number 1, drop your state right now, because your USDA zone completely changes which of these hits your plants hardest. Find yours and pay attention. And the one at number 7, University Extension Diagnostic Labs have been documenting it since before most American growers knew what to look for. Here is what most miss. Cause number 1, blossom end rot. That sunken black patch rotting the bottom of your tomato is not a fungal disease, and every grower who sprays fungicide on it loses $40 and still loses the fruit. Picture a firm red tomato with its entire bottom collapsed into dark leathery rot. Zones 3 through 11. Full sun, consistent moisture. That last part is everything. Calcium never reaches the fruit when watering swings between bone dry and soaking. The uptake highway shuts down, confirmed by University of Minnesota Extension. The hidden fact almost no source explains: your soil likely has enough calcium already. The problem is your watering schedule blocking delivery. A soil moisture meter costs $8 and prevents $40 to $90 in fruit loss per plant this season. Most American growers add calcium spray to the leaves and wonder why nothing changes, because foliar calcium cannot fix a root. Uptake failure. 2 inches of mulch plus drip irrigation on a consistent schedule stops blossom end rot before the next fruit sets. Fix the water schedule, add 2 inches of mulch and blossom end rot stops. No spray, no calcium product, no guesswork. Drop your state in the comments right now. Your USDA zone completely changes how fast soil moisture swings hit your tomatoes. And cause number 2 is something most growers blame on the rain. And somewhere in this video is the story of a retired couple in Zone 6 who lost their entire first tomato harvest treating blossom end rot as a disease. That story is coming. Keep watching. Because number 2, fruit splitting. That tomato cracked open overnight, not because of disease, not because of pests, but because your plant absorbed 3 days of water in 3 hours and the fruit skin had no room left to expand. Picture a perfectly ripe tomato splitting open in every direction from the stem, fruit you were 2 days away from harvesting, now unmarketable and rotting on the vine. Zones 3 through 11, full sun, consistent moisture management is the only fix that works. The hidden fact most sources skip: fruit skin stops expanding weeks before the fruit finishes ripening. Confirmed by University of Minnesota Extension. So any sudden water surge in that final window splits it open permanently. Consistent soil moisture is not about how much you water. It is about never letting the soil swing from dry to saturated between sessions. Replacing split tomatoes costs the average 6-plant home garden $60 to $120 in wasted harvest every season. Most American growers deep water only after soil dries completely. That single habit is what causes the split. A 2-inch mulch layer plus drip irrigation on a fixed schedule keeps soil moisture stable enough to prevent cracking through the entire ripening window. Consistent watering plus 2 inches of mulch eliminates fruit splitting. Harvesting 1 day early in a heat wave saves the entire truss. Have you grown tomatoes and lost fruit to cracking right before harvest, season after season? Drop it below. And cause number 3 starts at the bottom of your plant while you are looking at the top. By the time most growers notice, half the canopy is already gone. Cause number 3, early blight. This fungal disease starts on the lowest, oldest leaves of your tomato plant first, never the top. And every grower who ignores those bottom yellowing leaves loses the entire lower canopy before July is finished. Picture dark brown lesions with concentric rings like a target board appearing on the oldest leaves at soil level, while the top of the plant still looks perfectly healthy. Zones 3 through 11, full sun. Good airflow between plants cuts infection speed in half. The fact Texas A&M AgriLife Extension confirms that most growers miss. Early blight lesions always show the classic concentric ring pattern, removing infected leaves the moment they appear. Stops upward spread completely. Fungal spores live in soil and splash onto lowest leaves first during rain or overhead watering, which is why drip irrigation cuts early blight pressure by more than half. Losing the lower canopy to early blight costs the average home garden $80 to $130 in reduced fruit yield per season. Most American growers wait until yellowing reaches mid-plant before acting. By then, the fungal load has already moved upward. Removing every leaf below 12 inches at planting plus weekly inspection stops early blight before it costs a single fruit. Remove infected leaves immediately. Switch to drip irrigation, and early blight loses its pathway up your plant entirely. Did you ever believe that yellowing lower tomato leaves meant your soil was the problem? Be completely honest in the comments. And cause number 4 is the strangest thing that can happen to a tomato. A deformity that has nothing to do with disease, nothing to do with pests, and everything to do with one night of cold air during bloom. Cause number 4, catfacing. That grotesquely puckered, scarred, misshapen tomato is not a disease, not a pest, and not a bad variety. It is what happens when flower buds are disturbed by cold air below 55 degrees Fahrenheit during the exact bloom window. Picture a large beefsteak tomato so deeply grooved and scarred at the blossom end, it looks like it grew inside a closed fist, edible but unsellable, and deeply confusing to every grower who has never seen it explained correctly. Zones 3 through 7, full sun, large fruited varieties, hit hardest every single time. University of Minnesota Extension confirms catfacing is triggered by flower bud disturbance during the critical bloom window. Cold snaps below 55 degrees Fahrenheit are the most common cause across zones 3 through 7. The hidden fact almost no grower source explains. Herbicide drift from nearby lawn treatment and rough physical handling during bloom cause identical scarring. Cold nights are not the only trigger. Large fruited beefsteak varieties lose $40 to $70 per plant in marketable fruit when catfacing hits an entire bloom set. Most American growers blame the seed company or the variety and never grow that tomato again, missing the real cause entirely. Floating row covers applied on nights below 55 degrees during bloom eliminate catfacing, without changing a single thing about your variety choice. Check overnight temperatures during bloom, cover plants when the forecast drops below 55 degrees, and catfacing stops touching your harvest entirely. Cause number 5 is a heat disorder that makes perfectly healthy tomatoes refuse to ripen at the top. Even growers in their 50s and 60s with decades of experience rarely connect it to temperature until an entire truss is lost. Cause number 5, yellow shoulders. That tomato with a perfectly red bottom and a green-yellow patch that refuses to ripen at the top is not underripe, not diseased, and not a variety problem. It is a heat stress disorder that University of Minnesota Extension confirms is not yet fully understood, even by researchers. Picture a tomato that looks almost ready on the bottom but carries a hard yellow-green crown that never softens no matter how many more days you leave it on the vine. Zones 6 through 11, full sun, large fruited varieties and heat. Sensitive cultivars hit hardest every summer. The hidden detail University of Minnesota Extension notes that almost no gardening source explains. Yellow shoulders is a heat-driven internal ripening failure, where the tissue just beneath the fruit skin stops producing lycopene under sustained temperatures above 95 degrees Fahrenheit. This disorder is variety dependent. Heirloom and large fruited cultivars suffer significantly more than modern hybrid varieties, bred specifically for heat tolerance, leaving affected fruit on the vine past the color. Break stage in a heat wave costs the average home garden $50 to $90 in wasted fruit per season. Most American growers wait for full red color before harvesting. That single habit locks in yellow shoulders damage during peak July and August heat. Harvesting at first color break and ripening indoors during heat waves eliminates yellow shoulders without changing your variety or your soil. Harvest at first color break during heat waves and ripen indoors. Yellow shoulders never reaches the fruit that leaves the vine at the right moment. Cause number 6 is the one that travels invisibly through your garden on the back of an insect, so small, most growers never see it. A virus that mimics 3 other problems at once and has no cure once it takes hold. Cause number 6, tomato spotted wilt virus. That tomato with bronze, streaked stems, distorted leaves, and ring spots on fruit is not a nutrient deficiency, not fungal, and not recoverable. It is a virus delivered by thrips, so small most growers never see them. Picture stunted, distorted growth, stems streaked bronze, and fruit covered in yellow-brown rings that no spray will ever touch. Zones 3 through 11. Full sun, thrips pressure rises sharply every July and August. Clemson HGIC and Colorado State Extension confirm there is no cure for tomato spotted wilt virus once a plant is infected. The only correct action is immediate removal of the entire plant to protect every tomato still healthy in your garden. The hidden fact almost no source explains. Thrips acquire the virus as larvae and carry it for life. Every thrips that fed on an infected plant becomes a permanent transmission vector moving through your entire garden. A single infected plant left standing costs the average home garden $120 to $200 in lost harvest as thrips spread the virus plant to plant. Most American growers treat TSWV symptoms as a nutrient problem and apply fertilizer feeding a virally infected plant, while thrips continue spreading the disease to healthy ones. Reflective silver mulch at planting time disorients thrips and cuts TSWV transmission pressure before the first infection ever takes hold. Remove every infected plant immediately, lay reflective mulch at planting, and choose TSWV-resistant varieties. Those 3 decisions protect your entire garden at 0 extra cost. Cause number 7 moves twice as fast. It kills the whole plant from inside, while the outside still looks almost healthy. And there is one diagnostic test that tells you exactly what you're dealing with in 30 seconds. Cause number 7, Fusarium Wilt. That tomato wilting on one side while the other stays green is not drought stress, not root damage, and not recoverable. It is Fusarium oxysporum already inside your plant's vascular system, blocking water uptake entirely. Picture one branch collapsed and yellowing while the other half stands upright. Cut the main stem crosswise and brown discoloration inside confirms the diagnosis in 30 seconds. Zones 3 through 11. Warm, moist soil. Replanting tomatoes in the same spot feeds this fungus every season. University of Maryland Extension confirms Fusarium oxysporum survives in soil for years after an infected plant is removed. Replanting tomatoes in the same bed guarantees reinfection every single season. The hidden diagnostic fact almost no source explains. One-sided wilting is the single most reliable tell separating Fusarium wilt from every other wilt disease. Bacterial wilt and drought stress collapse the whole plant simultaneously. Losing a full tomato bed to Fusarium wilt costs the average home garden $100 to $180 in lost harvest plus replacement plants. Most American growers remove the wilted plant and replant tomatoes in the exact same soil the following season, feeding the same fungus a second crop. Rotating tomatoes to a new bed location plus selecting varieties marked F or FF for Fusarium resistance eliminates repeat losses permanently. Rotate your tomato bed and choose F or FF resistant varieties. Fusarium wilt becomes a one-time lesson instead of a recurring season loss. What plant problem has defeated everything you have tried? Tell me below. And now this is the story I mentioned at the start. A retired couple in Zone 6 who lost their entire first harvest to this exact cause, and what changed everything the following season. Earlier at the start of this video, I mentioned a retired couple in Zone 6. This is that story. They planted 6 tomatoes in their first backyard garden, watched blossom and rot take fruit after fruit through July, and spent $40 on fungicide spray that University of Minnesota Extension confirms has 0 effect on a calcium uptake disorder, losing their entire first harvest of $280 worth of fruit to a misdiagnosis that one correct fact would have prevented. The following season, they added drip irrigation, laid 2 inches of straw mulch, and recovered a full harvest. The same 6 plants produced $320 in fruit at 0 product cost. Most people clicked away 10 minutes ago. You did not. And cause number 8 is a deficiency that has nothing to do with poor soil and everything to do with one number on your soil thermometer that almost no grower checks. Cause number 8, phosphorus deficiency. That tomato plant turning purple on the stems and leaf undersides is not a disease, not a pest, and likely not a soil shortage. It is cold soil below 55 degrees Fahrenheit locking phosphorus out of your plant's root system, even when the nutrient is sitting right there in the ground. Picture a healthy young tomato transplant with stems and leaf undersides flushing deep purple, violet, while the soil around it still carries the chill of a late spring morning. Zones 3 through 7, full sun. Early transplants in cold soil trigger this every single season. University of Maryland Extension confirms phosphorus uptake shuts down almost completely in soil below 55 degrees Fahrenheit. The nutrient is present but biologically unavailable until soil temperature rises. The hidden diagnostic fact, almost no source explains. A $5 soil thermometer separates a cold soil phosphorus lockout from a genuine soil deficiency, and those two problems have completely opposite fixes. Adding phosphorus fertilizer to already cold soil costs $15 to $30 and changes nothing until the soil warms past the uptake threshold. Most American growers see purple stems in April and immediately buy phosphorus supplement, feeding a lockout problem with more of a nutrient the roots cannot yet absorb. Black plastic mulch laid 2 weeks before transplanting raises soil temperature fast enough to prevent phosphorus lockout before the first transplant goes in the ground. Check soil temperature before transplanting, lay black plastic mulch 2 weeks early, and phosphorus lockout never costs you a plant this season. Cause number 9 looks almost identical to early blight from a distance. The cause chain is completely different. The fix costs under $10, and missing it drains your plant of the one nutrient it cannot stop losing no matter how much you fertilize. Cause number 9, nitrogen deficiency. That yellowing starting at the bottom of your tomato plant and climbing steadily upward is not early blight, not disease, and not a watering problem. It is your plant pulling nitrogen from its oldest leaves to feed new growth at the top because the soil cannot keep up with demand. Picture the lowest leaves on your tomato turning uniformly pale yellow, then dropping while every new leaf at the growing tip stays deep green and healthy. A bottom-up pattern that tells the entire diagnosis story in one look. Zones 3 through 11, full sun, fast-growing plants in sandy or depleted soil hit this wall hardest mid-season. Texas A&M AgriLife Extension confirms nitrogen is a mobile nutrient. Your plant actively moves it from older tissue to newer growth when soil supply drops, making bottom-up yellowing the single most reliable diagnostic pattern for deficiency. The hidden fact most growers miss: uniform pale yellowing from bottom up means nitrogen. Yellowing with brown spots or ring patterns means fungal disease. Those two patterns have completely opposite fixes. Side dressing with a balanced nitrogen fertilizer costs under $10 and reverses visible yellowing within 7 to 10 days in zones 5 through 9. Most American growers see bottom yellowing and either ignore it as normal aging or spray a fungicide that has zero effect on a nutrient shortage. A mid-season side dress application every 3 to 4 weeks through peak fruiting keeps nitrogen supply ahead of the plant's demand without ever letting deficiency take hold. Side dress every 3 to 4 weeks through peak fruiting and nitrogen deficiency never slows a single tomato plant this season. Cause number 10 is one most growers in their 50s and 60s have watched happen repeatedly without ever understanding the real trigger. Flowers forming perfectly then dropping before a single fruit sets, and the cause has nothing to do with pollination. Cause number 10, blossom drop. Those perfectly formed tomato flowers falling off the plant before a single fruit sets are not a pollination failure, not a pest problem, and not a sign of poor variety. They are your plant's response to temperature swings above 85 degrees Fahrenheit or below 55 degrees Fahrenheit during the exact flowering window. Picture a tomato plant covered in healthy yellow blooms one morning and a garden bed covered in fallen petals by afternoon. No fruit, no sign of damage, just flowers dropping cleanly as if the plant decided to quit. Zones 3 through 11, full sun, potassium levels, and temperature extremes work together to determine whether every flower becomes fruit or falls. University Extension Service research confirms that temperatures above 85 degrees Fahrenheit cause pollen to become sterile, and temperatures below 55 degrees prevent pollen tube formation. Either extreme shuts down fruit set completely regardless of how healthy the plant looks. The hidden fact almost no source connects. Potassium deficiency amplifies blossom drop under temperature stress. Plants with adequate potassium hold flowers significantly longer during heat and cold swings. Adding high nitrogen fertilizer during flowering pushes leafy growth. At the exact moment the plant needs energy directed toward fruit set, costing the average garden $60 to $100 in lost yield. Most American growers add more fertilizer when flowers drop, choosing the wrong nutrient at the worst possible moment in the plant's development cycle. Shade cloth on afternoons above 85 degrees, combined with a potassium side dress at first bloom, prevents blossom drop without changing a single thing about your garden layout. Shade cloth above 85 degrees, potassium at first bloom, and blossom drop stops costing you fruit this season. Cause number 11 is damage most growers create themselves with one pruning decision made on the wrong afternoon. And a single over-pruning session in peak July sun can scald an entire truss of fruit that was days away from harvest. Cause number 11, Sunscald, that white papery bleached patch on the side of your tomato fruit, is not disease, not pest damage, and not a variety flaw. It is direct sun exposure burning fruit tissue that your plant's own leaf canopy was supposed to be shading. Picture a perfectly forming tomato truss suddenly developing white-yellow papery patches on every fruit facing the afternoon sun after one aggressive pruning session removed the leaves that were protecting them. Zones 3 through 11. Full sun. Aggressive pruning in peak July and August heat triggers sunscald on exposed fruit within 48 hours. University of Minnesota Extension confirms sunscald occurs when fruit tissue reaches temperatures above 86 degrees Fahrenheit through direct sun exposure. The leaf canopy is the plant's own built. In sunscreen and removing it triggers damage within one afternoon. The hidden pruning fact almost no source explains. Removing leaves above a fruit cluster is always more damaging than removing suckers below. The leaves above are actively shading the fruit, while suckers below are only competing for nutrients. One aggressive pruning session in peak July heat scalds an entire truss worth $40 to $80 in harvestable fruit before the damage is even visible. Most American growers prune heavily in midsummer, believing more airflow always improves fruit quality, removing the exact foliage that was preventing sun damage, pruning only below the first flower cluster, and never removing canopy leaves above ripening fruit eliminates sunscald without sacrificing airflow or plant health. Keep canopy leaves above, ripening fruit intact. Prune only below the first flower cluster, and sunscald never touches a tomato in your garden again. Cause number 12 is something growers in their 50s and 60s panic over every single season. Leaves curling tight on a plant that looks otherwise healthy, and the fix costs exactly $0 because it is not a problem at all. Cause number 12, leaf roll. Those tomato leaves curling tightly upward on an otherwise productive plant are not a virus, not a disease. They are a deliberate moisture conservation response that University of Minnesota Extension confirms reduces water loss during heat and drought stress. Picture half the leaves rolled into tight tubes, while fruit continues setting and new growth stays completely healthy. The plant is protecting itself, not failing. Zones 3 through 11. Full sun. Leaf roll peaks hardest during July and August heat events across every American growing region. The hidden fact University of Minnesota Extension confirms that saves growers from unnecessary spending. Physiological leaf roll caused by heat and moisture stress does not reduce yield, does not spread, and requires zero treatment. It reverses on its own when temperatures drop or soil moisture stabilizes. The diagnostic separation most growers never learn. Virus-caused leaf curl shows distorted new growth and mosaic patterns on leaves. Heat-stress leaf roll shows clean, uniform curling on mid and lower leaves with healthy new growth at the tip. Panic buying treatment products for physiological leaf roll costs the average grower $30 to $60 on sprays that have no effect on a cosmetic stress response. Most American growers see curled leaves and immediately reach for a fungicide or pesticide, treating a survival mechanism as a disease and stressing the plant further. 2 inches of mulch, plus consistent drip irrigation, keeps soil moisture stable enough to reduce leaf roll pressure through the entire peak heat window. Mulch, consistent watering, and zero panic spending. Physiological leaf roll costs nothing to manage and nothing to treat. Cause number 13 is the one that comes from outside your garden entirely. A hidden source. Most growers never suspect until an entire bed is damaged beyond recovery, and it has nothing to do with anything you planted, sprayed, or did wrong yourself. Cause number 13, herbicide injury. That tomato with twisted cupping strapping leaves that look like no disease you have seen is not a virus, not a nutrient problem. It is 2,4-D or dicamba lawn herbicide drift from a neighbor's yard or contaminated grass. Clipping mulch, confirmed by University of Minnesota Extension. Picture every new leaf emerging twisted into tight straps and cups while the soil and every other plant nearby looks completely untouched. Zones 3 through 11. Full sun, herbicide drift damage appears within 48 to 72 hours and mimics 3 other tomato problems at once. University of Minnesota Extension confirms 24D and dicamba mimic plant growth hormones. Even trace amounts cause the distinctive twisting and strapping that no fungicide, fertilizer, or pest treatment will ever reverse. The hidden source most growers never check first. Grass clippings from a lawn treated with broadleaf herbicide carry active chemical residue that releases directly into tomato root zones when used as mulch, damaging an entire bed from below. A single contaminated mulch application costs the average home garden $50 to $120 in lost plants and replacement soil amendment. Most American growers spend weeks diagnosing herbicide injury as a virus or nutrient deficiency, applying treatments that have zero effect while the plant continues declining. Never use grass clippings as tomato mulch unless the lawn source is confirmed untreated for at least 3 full mowing cycles before collection. Use only confirmed untreated straw mulch. Check your property boundary for drift risk, and herbicide injury never enters your tomato garden from outside. And your neighbor is not the only hidden threat. Cause number 14 is already inside your seed packet before you ever open it. And it spreads fastest in the exact wet, humid conditions most American growers cannot control. Cause number 14, bacterial spot and speck. Those small dark water-soaked lesions with yellow halos on leaves and fruit are not early blight, not a nutrient problem. They are seed-borne bacteria that University of Maryland Extension confirms can arrive inside the seed packet before you plant a single tomato. Picture dark raised scabby spots spreading across fruit and lesions, multiplying across leaves after every rain while the source traces back to the seed itself. Zones 3 through 11 full sun. Wet, humid conditions accelerate bacterial spread across the entire plant within days. University of Maryland Extension confirms bacterial spot and speck pathogens are seed-borne and survive on infected plant debris and soil, making seed source and crop rotation the 2 most powerful prevention tools available to any home grower. The hidden fact most growers never consider. Saving seed from an infected plant carries the bacteria directly into next season's garden before the first transplant goes in. Breaking the cycle requires starting with certified disease-free seed every single time. Recurring bacterial spot and speck costs the average home garden $70 to $130 in damaged fruit and lost yield across a full season. Most American growers treat bacterial lesions with copper fungicide repeatedly. Copper has limited effectiveness on established bacterial infection and does nothing to address the seed-borne source. Purchasing certified disease-free transplants or seed, switching to drip irrigation, and rotating tomato beds eliminates the 3 primary pathways that keep bacterial spot returning season after season. Certified disease-free seed, drip irrigation, and bed rotation cut bacterial spot out of your garden permanently. Cause number 15 is the fastest whole plant killer on this list, a soil fungus that collapses a full-grown tomato in 48 hours and leaves one unmistakable clue at the soil line that tells you exactly what you are dealing with before you even touch the plant. Cause number 15, southern blight. That tomato collapsed overnight with white cottony growth at the soil line is not Fusarium wilt, not drought. It is Sclerotium rolfsite, confirmed by University of Maryland Extension as a soil fungus that destroys stem tissue at soil level and kills a full-grown plant in 48 hours. Picture a completely healthy plant one evening and a fully collapsed plant the next morning. White fungal mat at the stem base with small tan round bodies embedded that look exactly like mustard seeds. Zones 7 through 11, full sun, hot humid summers above 85 degrees accelerate southern blight faster than any other tomato disease. University of Maryland Extension confirms Sclerotium rolfsite produces small round sclerotia that survive in soil for years. Every infected plant left in the bed deposits hundreds of survival structures that reinfect the next season's crop without exception. The hidden diagnostic detail that separates southern blight from every other collapse. The white fungal mat and mustard. Seed sclerotia appear only at soil level, never higher on the stem, making it the only tomato disease diagnosed by looking down, not up. Losing a full tomato plant to southern blight costs the average home garden $80 to $150 in lost harvest, plus the cost of soil remediation. Most American growers remove the collapsed plant, but leave the surrounding soil undisturbed, leaving thousands of sclerotia in place to reinfect the exact same spot next season. Remove the infected plant immediately, excavate 6 inches of surrounding soil, and rotate tomatoes out of that bed for a minimum of 3 seasons to break the southern blight cycle permanently. Remove the plant, excavate 6 inches of surrounding soil, rotate out for 3 seasons. Southern blight loses every survival structure it left behind. Because number 16 is the most visible pest on this entire list. A caterpillar so large it strips an entire tomato branch overnight, but most growers never see it because it hides in plain sight using one of the most effective camouflage systems in the American garden. Because number 16, tomato hornworm. That tomato branch stripped bare overnight was not wind, not disease. It was a single caterpillar the length of your finger that University of Maryland Extension confirms can defoliate an entire branch before most growers find it. Picture bare green stems where full branches were yesterday, while the hornworm sits motionless in perfect green camouflage, so hidden that growers search the entire plant and walk away convinced nothing is there. Zones 3 through 11. Full sun, hornworm pressure peaks every July and August across every American tomato region. UNH Extension confirms the single most reliable hornworm detection method requires never looking for the caterpillar first. Look for dark green pellet, shaped droppings on leaves and soil below, then trace upward to find the hornworm directly above the droppings within 12 inches. The hidden fact most growers never learn. Hornworms covered in white rice. Shaped attachments are already parasitized by braconid wasps. Removing or killing those hornworms destroys the beneficial wasp pupae that will protect your entire garden through the rest of the season. Spraying broad insecticide to control hornworms kills the braconid wasp population and costs the average garden $60 to $120 in repeat pest pressure the following season. Most American growers reach for insecticide spray the moment they find a hornworm, eliminating the most effective natural hornworm control already working in their garden. Hand removal at zero cost preserves every braconid wasp in your garden and stops hornworm damage without touching a single beneficial insect. Look for droppings first. Hand remove every unparasitized hornworm and leave every white-coated one in place. Braconid wasps finish the job for free for the rest of the season. That is all 16 tomato diagnosis causes. And here are 3 things about tomato problems that almost no single source ever puts together in one place. 3 things about tomato problems that almost no source puts in one place. 1 consistent drip irrigation schedule on a fixed timer prevents blossom end rot, fruit splitting, leaf roll, and blossom drop simultaneously. 4 of the 16 causes in this video eliminated by 1 watering decision that costs under $30 to set up. A single soil test before the season begins identifies phosphorus lockout risk, nitrogen baseline, pH balance, and calcium levels, preventing 4 more causes before the first transplant goes in the ground at a cost of $15. Never removing canopy leaves above ripening fruit prevents Sunscald and early blight spread simultaneously. 1 pruning habit that protects 2 harvests with 0 product cost. rotating tomato beds every season, and starting with certified disease. Free seed eliminates Fusarium Wilt, southern blight, and bacterial spot from returning year after year. 3 of the most destructive causes on this list stop by 2 decisions made before planting begins. Here is exactly where to begin, based on your zone. Right now, here is exactly where to begin. Zone to plants to dollar. Zones 3 through 5 check soil temperature before transplanting. Use black plastic mulch 2 weeks early. Choose F or FF resistant varieties. 3 decisions that cut phosphorus lockout, Fusarium wilt, and catfacing before planting day. Zones 6 and 7, drip irrigation on a fixed timer, plus 2 inches of straw mulch, stops blossom end rot, fruit splitting, and leaf roll, saving $120 to $200 this season. Zones 8 and 9, shade cloth above 85 degrees, harvest at first color break during heat waves, reflective mulch at planting. 3 decisions that stop yellow shoulders, Sunscald, blossom drop, and TSWV before peak heat arrives at under $40. Miss this window and your first result waits a full growing season. Symptoms peak June through August, and every week of correct diagnosis now is fruit saved before September ends the harvest. You just received University Extension-backed diagnosis for all 16 tomato causes, zone accurate, dollar grounded, and research verified, from sources most growers never read in one sitting. If this video gave you even one diagnosis you had never connected to the real cause before, hit like now. It tells Planter Lab this level of research is worth delivering every single week. Drop your state and zone in the comments right now and tell me which of these 16 causes matched your tomato plant this season. Every answer helps Plant Lab build the next diagnosis masterclass around what American growers are actually facing. Subscribe to Plant Lab. The growers who diagnose correctly lose less every season, and we add that knowledge every single week.